Hi, I'm Jeff Altman, the Big Game Hunter, and I've been coaching people, filling positions, hunting down leaders and staff for organizations for more than 40 years. Watching the Republican debates last week, it popped into my mind this morning that maybe there were some lessons that you as a job hunter can take away from the performance or lack thereof of some of the candidates. Now, the first lesson, I think, is in the Marco Rubio smackdown of Jeb Bush. Now, when you look at the question that Bush was posed, he ran with it. But the key wasn't that he ran with it, is that Rubio was prepared with a retort. And if you watch the video, there's a point where Rubio is speaking directly to Bush, and as Bush starts to respond, Rubio turns away from him and starts talking directly to the audience about how he refuses to indulge in such behavior. You see, what Rubio did was allow himself to be prepared for the obvious. And for most people, they go into interviews, they go into job search completely ill-prepared. Rubio was a great example of that. So that's lesson number one. Lesson number two really comes from Ted Cruz. Now, if you watch the debate, how much airtime did Cruz really get? 10 minutes? Tops? 10 minutes of a 2-hour debate? But he had a magic moment in there where he summarized the bad questions that were asked of the people that preceded him and basically said, the American people want more than this, and smacked down the interviewers for asking questions that were basically stupid and annoying. Ben Carson, I think he said, Ben Carson, can you do math? Donald Trump, are you a cartoon character? I forget what the other ones were, but it ultimately came down to he attacked the interviewers for questions that were designed to cause the candidates right off the bat to be on the defensive. Why? But the lesson in that is there are times that you may be in a job search and you're listening to an employer ask questions about your work, or they're asking some of these stupid brain teaser questions, and you pause for a second and you can go, I'm here to be interviewed for such and such type of position. And at the end of the day, if you think this is the best way to evaluate me, that's your prerogative. But I think you'd want to know a lot more about what I can do from a leadership perspective. Or, you turn the tables on the interviewer and basically question why they're asking you such stupid questions that don't really relate. What are they really going to learn about you? That this moment where you're going to flip the tables on them and to say, I think there are better ways to evaluate me than this, can be very effective. Chris Christie did much the same thing, where Jeb Bush was prepared with some answer on fantasy football where he said, I'm 7-0 in my fantasy league. And Christie said, this is it? This is what we're going to ask people about? What they think about fantasy football when America is being at risk for ISIS? And he's going on and on with the foreign policy and political challenges that a new president is going to take. And you ask about fantasy football? It's much the same sort of response that Ted Cruz had. And he also did some very clever things at certain times by just looking directly at the camera, speaking to the American people and not speaking to the moderators of the audience. He knew that although there were people in the audience that he could be talking to, his real audience was out watching TV. So again, always look for the moment to seize. Always look for that opportunity to distinguish yourself from others rather than just going with the flow. You see, when you're at an interview, when you're in a job search, there are so many missed moments that job hunters have, missed moments to network, talk to people who could make a difference in their search, create a brand for themselves that distinguishes themselves from others. It's just huge mistakes get missed because people aren't awake to the possibility that things could be different. if only they seized the moment. Cruz, Rubio, Christie, seize the moment. Trump, Carson, I don't think so. I don't really care what the polls say. Who knows who they interview. I'll just simply say those three that I cite seized great moments in the interview to really stand out and got noticed as being something special as a result of how they conducted themselves. You have to do much the same thing. So that's the lesson from that debate. I think I'm going to go back to the Democratic debate and watch it again to look for the same thing, because I think this is a great opportunity to learn from the professionals, because these folks are professionals. I don't care whether they're considered insiders or outsiders. You think Donald Trump isn't a pro? Come on, you're kidding yourself if you don't think a guy who's been on 13 seasons or 14 seasons of television isn't a professional. I'm Jeff Altman. Hope you found this helpful. My website is thebiggamehunter.us. There's a lot more there you can watch, listen to, or read to help you find work more quickly. And if you want a pro to help you in your game, to help you perform at a high level throughout your job search, go to my website, look for the coaching tab, or if you don't want to get 4 sessions with me, book me for an individual session. Let's spend some time speaking, because I think I can put some things on your plate that